All right, well, we start with Nippon Sangoku, episode 7. And the beginning of the episode reviews that Wajima is leading an army of 70,000 into Yamato, and Ryumon turning his forces back, and the other Yamato generals are just getting entertained. But it cuts to Nagao talking to another Sei dude, and he's like, gotta make sure Ryumon gets to Kanazawa. And then the dude is like, oh, I got a letter from Wajima for you. And he gets a handwritten letter saying this was thanks to his efforts. And then he starts jerking off.
Greg, not wrong here. He literally he has, like, they zoom in, they have like a letter inside of his jacket, and like pulls it out, and he's like, huh, yeah. Or was that later when he pulls out the letter? Sorry.
I think that was later. He jerked off multiple times in this.
Yeah, he was definitely
episode.
Jamming bacon the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, Wajima seems nice. And I guess we have to remember the wartime that they're in. There's no technology. I don't think there's a lot of outlets for these soldiers in war. So, a nice smelling handwritten letter, I guess, is all that it takes now. Which is nice, I guess. Let's go back to the olden times.
Smells. I have a story real quick. On Saturday, I was DJing, and a acquaintance from years ago comes in. She was cold, and she was sitting in the DJ booth, and I was like, here, you can hold on to my jacket and sit with my jacket for a second. And then I go outside for a second. It's getting kind of chilly out. And I go to walk back inside, and she comes out of the DJ booth wearing my jacket. And I looked at her and I was like, don't wear my jacket. Give me my jacket back. And she's like, what? Why? And I was like, because I don't want my jacket to smell like you. And she was like, I don't smell bad. And I was like, no, that's not the point. I'm not saying you smell bad. I just don't want my objects to smell like other people. Is that weird? Am I the weird one?
Well, it depends on what you did after you got your jacket back.
No, I put it on the chair.
Are you sure you didn't
No, I did not, Greg. Whatever you're going to say, it's not what I did because I put it on a chair.
Oh, okay. So you weren't like the girl from Solo Leveling every time Jinwoo walked by and she just had to get a big old whiff?
No.
Yeah, so you're good then. No, you're not.
Okay,
weird.
thanks.
Okay. But it cuts to 7 hours after the start of the war at Kuzuryu Castle. And Hei reports that the attack on Kuzuryu Castle was a success, but Yamato fought fiercely and they took significant losses. But Kuda is all right. That was the end of episode 6, where they, the Yamato dudes made the last stand against the Sei army.
And Kura is the guy with the dreads.
Yeah. Wajima says to have him rest because this was just the start, and the battle ahead will be hard without him. And Hei says they've also captured Katsuyama and Ono castles and secured Oketsu in less than half a day. But Ryumon has figured something out and has withdrawn to Fukui. Wajima is like, whatever. After Kuda recovers, we advance along the Kuzuru River toward Reihoku, and they're going to go dragon hunting. And then I just have a note here that Ryu means a few things in Japanese, but one of them is dragon. So when they say dragon hunting, they're hunting Ryumon. Ryu for dragon. Cuts to Fukui, Reihoku Castle. And Taira Shoji reports to Ryumon that 70,000 Sei soldiers are on the move, and the other castles in Oketsu have fallen. And Ryumon is like, status report. And he says the Castilian of each castle, 12 Borderland General Corps dudes, and 1,000 Oketsu soldiers died. Ryumon tells Shoji to gather all Fukui's soldiers and civilian provisions to Reihoku. And he's like, but everything will be undefended. And Ryumon is like, man, haven't you learned the hard way yet that those shit defenses don't stand a chance? And not doing this is basically giving up our advantage, and territory can be reclaimed, but lives lost cannot. Ryumon and Kaku talk about Sato, who was the general dude from last episode at the castle, the one that was going to give his head so everyone could survive, but he didn't. And he fought and died to the Sei army. So they talk about him, and they have some sentimental stuff about he was a good dude, high five, we used to drink together. But then they go into the battle plan and how Sei lacks the capacity to strike Kanazawa's main force. And as long as they don't realize the war has started, then they're basically hostages. Meaning the Yamato dudes that are currently getting entertained and the 30,000 soldiers they have up there. And that was the whole point of Sei doing this, and Nagao's plan was to stall the lion's share or the dragon's share of the Yamato army up in Kanazawa, so then Wajima could move through and basically take everything over while the army's distracted.
So theoretically, Sei has 70,000 soldiers. They have up in this northern area from where this screenshot is pointing.
Yep, the blue
they have
cranes.
30,000. Yeah, the blue cranes is 30,000 soldiers, and then Fukui is to the west, which is the other blue crane, which is Ryuman's, which has another probably 10 to 20,000 soldiers, I'd imagine. So realistically, the Sei invasion would be stalled for near indefinite if you have 50,000 soldiers together. They split up this part of the army. The oh my god, what's his name?
Aoteru?
The baby. No, the baby guy.
Oh, Tonotsugu?
Yeah. No, not the child. His dad.
Denki.
Holy shit. If Denki's force was nearby, this entire thing would be crushed, right? Because they have like 140,000 soldiers basically prepped and ready to go at any given moment. And they're in the defense. This Sei invasion is a terrible idea unless everything goes perfectly.
Yeah, but they're right now, Sei is between like a rock and a hard place because their nation's basically done for. They were going to accept the Yamato unconditional surrender, and then Wajima comes and is like, no, I'm taking command of this ship, and has the coup and is now a dictator. So this is almost like a last-ditch effort for Sei to remain a nation and not get taken over by Yamato.
Annexed, I think is the word for it.
And the thing is, too, is like, yeah, Yamato can 100% destroy Sei, but this is like where all of the military strategy and political intrigue comes in, because Ryumon and the Yamato forces that are in this area right now are trying to fight this without requesting reinforcements, because if Denki comes and quells the Sei rebellion, then basically it gives Denki the ammunition to have Ryumon's position stripped from him. And then Ryumon is like the only person that's really in the position to stand up against Denki. So this was almost like all planned from when the emperor told Tonotsugu to go send the 30,000 soldiers and go check out Nagao, who is using the 34th stratagem or whatever the fuck. So there's like more going on to this battle than the Ryumon versus Sei. And that's why all the other castle dudes didn't request reinforcements either, and they all died because they're like, we're gonna die instead of having Ryumon replace. Like, it's that big of a deal that Denki's like a fucking joke.
It is all these sacrifices that are happening so that Denki doesn't take over all of Japan, basically. And even still, Tonotsugu being put in this position because I wonder, and I think we'll get an answer to this pretty soon, I don't think Denki gives a fuck about his kid.
No. Later on in the episode, we'll see that Tonotsugu is coming to that realization where he didn't think he was his dad's pawn, but then he realizes, wait, maybe I am.
I don't even know if he's going that far ahead yet.
Oh, I think Denki 100% is going that far.
No, Tonotsugu.
Oh,
I think Denki's gone that far. Like, yeah, kid, do whatever you want, and I'll use you as an excuse. Like, oh, they killed my kid. And the kid is like, oh, I'm realizing that, like, not that he was a pawn, but that he at least made a mistake so far. And that's, like, I'm really excited for this show. Like, this show, every episode I watch of it, I'm like, dude, this show fucking slaps so hard.
It is definitely, like, Seven Samurai-esque, where right now Yamato, even though they're, like, the most powerful of the three nations right now, it seems like, there's still this struggle that is happening outside of like the Sei war, and it is like really, really interesting. And I think they're doing a pretty good job of like giving us the information, not necessarily hand holding us, because you do have to put some stuff together probably until those episodes come where they explain it, but they're also not treating us like idiots, and we can't like pick up the breadcrumbs and kind of make assumptions of like what is going on. I think they're doing like a really good job with this anime of leading us down this war campaign that's going on, but there's like more happening behind the scenes, and being able to provide the information in an intelligent way and then not just relying on the narrator or, you know, a bunch of
Right.
flashbacks to explain exactly what's going on because they think we're too dumb to understand.
Are you taking a shot at JJK right now, Greg? How fucking dare you?
No, I'm not. I was shooting at something. I don't remember
You're just shooting from the hip, seeing
what it is.
seeing what
Yeah.
lands?
Yeah,
okay.
just
All right.
quick draw.
Yeah.
Revolver.
Everybody sucks.
7 guys, 1 shot.
Yeah, 100%.
But it cuts back to Nagao, who is getting a report that Ryumon went back to Fukui, and they review the new information, and Nagao is like, we gotta take out Sugo. And the dudes are like, you're fucking crazy. Wajima said to keep the Yamato forces here in Kanazawa. But Nagao is like, nah, that was only if Ryumon came to Kanazawa. So let's just fuck them up. And then it cuts to Tonotsugu and Sugo walking around, and Tonotsugu is being a little bitch as usual. And then they all go to an onsen, except Sugo. Sugo is in an inn-room, still tied up, and Tamaki has a change of clothes for him. And if we remember, Tamaki is like the Afro dude that's part of the Taira clan, and he was the original messenger that met with Nagao, and he's like, holy shit, man, you're getting whipped. And he reported back and said that everything looks legit. So Tamaki has a change of clothes for him and unties Sugo and lets him wash himself and talks about how someone who doesn't have yellow skin like Tamaki, it's hard to hold a high position in this country, and he's got a family to feed. This is like the buildup. Like when anyone is just like, man, I'm just trying to make ends meet. I got a family. I got 2 kids.
It's 2 days from retirement.
Yeah, I'm 2 days from retirement. That's exactly what he just said.
As soon as they had that moment, I was like, you're going to kill the black guy first? Jesus Christ, guys. What the fuck?
Yeah.
They are following the tropes, man.
Sugo's like, well, that's how Tonotsugu took advantage of you, but I get it. And he got me good too. And I also have a family to feed. And my 4th kid was born last month. So now the 2 guys kind of bond over family and kids and stuff.
Were you hoping he was like, don't put the ropes back on me? Something's going down.
I did have that feeling where, oh, he's going to untie him so he can change his clothes and wash himself. And I was like, oh, is he going to like
knock him out?
Like John Wick him and just destroy everybody?
I was hoping that he would knock him out and like be like, I'm sorry about that. And then like put his body in a closet and then like save him from the night raid.
Yeah.
But instead,
I think Sugo didn't do it like on purpose because I think he like wanted to. Like I felt
I don't think
like
he knew the night raid was happening immediately.
No, and without the night raid even happening, like Sugo totally could have just
We would have fucked him up.
escaped, right? He could have escaped back to Ryumon and told Ryumon what's going on. But I think Sugo knows his position, and if he did do that, then it would put all of the Borderland core at risk because, you know, he basically beat up a Taira to escape, and then it's going to be bad. So I think Sugo had enough future thought that even though he could take advantage of the situation, he did.
Also, with Sugo having, one, probably the skill and the knowledge to take advantage of the situation, I'm sure he's like, okay, if I go now, we create this massive rift, like you were saying. But if I stay, maybe I can quell the situation and keep Tonotsuga alive so that it doesn't fall back.
But it cuts to Nagao getting ready to lead the night raid, and he says guns and arrows are prohibited. But one of the dudes reports that there was a suspicious dude that they tried to apprehend, but he escaped, and he had long, unkempt hair, wearing worn-out clothes. And Nagao's like, whatever, just kill all Yamato. Nagao has an internal monologue how he hasn't done shit besides get whipped and take over a poorly guarded armory. And Wajima and Hei are doing backflips, so it's my turn to do backflips, as he fondly thinks about Wajima. The raid starts, and the guards at the inn are dispatched, but cuts to Tamaki and Sugo. And Tamaki ties Sugo back up, but Sugo hears footsteps, and he's like, 1, 2, no, 4. And they enter the room and dispatch Tamaki. But Sugo kicks one in the solar plexus and is like, that dude needs a doctor. But the other 3 attack, and Sugo roadhouse kicks them, but one of the dudes pulls a gun. And Nagao can hear the gunshots.
He gets stabbed by a katana as well.
But yeah, so I kind of like rushed through that. Like by dispatching the inn guards, they literally just like don't like one shot, just like cut these dudes' heads off with like swords. And then when they like got Tamaki, because Tamaki's like, oh no, there's not 4 dudes. It's probably just one of our guys. And he opens the door and then he gets cut like across the eyes, like a horizontal slash, like across the bridge of the nose and like his eyes. And then he obviously falls and then they stab him when he's down. So it was a little crazier than how I explain with just the word dispatch. But I figured I'd just let the screenshots do the talking here.
Okay. You have a lot of faith in me for these screenshots, Greg.
But it cuts back to Sugo, and the gunfire was from Tonotsugu, who saves Sugo. And Tonotsugu is like, Dad, you didn't say this would happen. And he's like, all the people I trusted are dead. And fuck you, Sugo. I'll kill you. But Tonotsugu is wounded and falls. Sugo is like, kill me. And then what, bitch? You can't get out of here by yourself. But if you can picture a world where you can get to the 30,000 soldiers at the barracks and rally them and get back home, then go ahead and kill me. Tonotsugu cuts Sugo's ropes and is like, yeah, man, I'm a piece of shit. I apologize. And I wanted to get back to ask my dad what the fuck that was. And then Top Gun sexy guitar music plays and Sugo gives Tonotsugu a piggyback ride. And he's like, let's get out of here.
Aim for the bushes. And then they jump off the 3rd floor of the fucking inn with this kid on his back.
I just liked that scene because Sugo's standing there and it's like, oh,
it's sick as fuck.
Like, the wind is blowing, and even though they're inside, and then like there's fucking leaves and everything, and everyone's like, oh damn, this is crazy.
When they do have this moment, he does not look down at Tonotsuga. He's just like, you're goddamn right, kid.
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
But I mean, because like right now, I know Sugo he probably doesn't have a very like high feelings of Tonotsugu at the moment.
No, he would break that kid's neck if it meant saving 10,000 of his soldiers.
I do like in the scene that's coming up how Sugo reacts. And to me, it really kind of links everything together because Tamaki and Sugo were talking about family, they have kids. And then in this coming up scene, I think Sugo really has those instincts of saving Tonotsugu because he's a kid. And I just thought that it was like a really good point of the show that they added those pieces of information in and then didn't just leave them hanging. They like circled it back around. I could be reading into it because they didn't like specifically say that, but I think that's why this story is doing such a good job is because of how they are linking all this information together. But they escape and move through the city, but then they get gunned down by Nago. And Sugo guards Tonotsugu, and then the unkempt hair man rolls up and blasts Nago and the guards. And Nago has a thought of how he fucked up, and Wajima is going to hate him. But yeah, this is the scene here in the screenshot where Nago is going for the kill on Sugo and Tonotsugu here. And Sugo's first reaction is to shield Tonotsugu, even though he was a piece of shit like this entire time that they were like doing this campaign. But I think that kind of shows Sugo's character, and he's able to set all of that stuff aside.
He's got 4 kids. You know what I mean? He knows how big of a piece of shit this 7-year-old is because he's got one of his own and he's got a fresh one on the way. So I think that, like I said, with this storyline, it's already got grounds for like spin-offs. Like we could watch the Sugo fucking TV show about him, his wife, and all these kids and watch just these kids grow up. And
there doesn't even have to be any war. He's just like day-to-day being a dad.
Yeah, he's like, dude, we're going to the supermarket in poverty-stricken, war-torn Yamato. But what, like, him and his kids' interactions and how he raises his kids, obviously he's going to look at Tonotsugu and be like, all right, I need to fucking do something. Like when I said that he would save 10,000 soldiers and break this kid's neck, I'm sure up until this point when Tonotsugu was like, yo, my bad about that, I'll listen to you a little bit more, I made the mistake, I'm sure he would have just been like, all right, let's leave this kid. Because he is a matter-of-fact person. Maybe not. I don't know. But
this is just really good character building. Like
Yeah,
we
I agree.
barely got any information about who Sugo is besides he said 3 words. He likes sugar cubes. And then you get a little bit more when he talks to Tamaki, and then you get a little bit more in this scene right here. And it's just a lot of storytelling and a lot of character development without using a lot of words. To me, this is how stories should be. Like, you shouldn't have to explain all this shit to me. Like, if this was another anime that I can't remember the name of, they would probably stop right here, have a flashback of like Sugo being a dad and like protecting one of his kids, and then, you know, that's the whole episode. And then the next episode you see him shielding Tonotsugu, and it's like, well, you know, I don't know if you had to explain that. So I just like that this anime is a little bit more mature and it treats the audience as such as well.
I agree.
The unkempt hair man that blasted Nago is none other than Nagamine Shiryo. And Sugo's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, following Kaku's orders. And he says they need to go to the Sai River since he has soldiers there and a medic. The narrator says Nagamine led his forces and wiped out Sei and regrouped with the Yamato forces stationed in Kanazawa, and they moved back towards Fukui to help Ryumon, and in Kanazawa, 194 soldiers were killed.
Okay, so from my understanding, Nagamine leaves his post to perform this counter night raid
That Kaku predicted.
Yes. And we're seeing Sugo Tonotsugu being saved by Kaku. Basically, I wonder if Tonotsugu figures out, like, holy shit, this was all orchestrated by Kaku, and, like, eventually goes back to his dad and is like, look, these guys left me and were going to let me die, but then saved me to help their status in the army. I'm just playing devil's advocate because you could have the character being written in that direction of like, okay, this kid is a lot smarter than we assume. He sees through the veil of all of this and then is like, okay, these guys were going to let me die almost.
I think it's a potential, but I think the fact that Tonotsugu apologized to Sugo, I think is their way of showing that he isn't going to do that. Now, there might be some sort of brainwashing by Denki when they actually get back, and he's like, no, son, like, I didn't plan this. It was the Borderland Corps, and then he'll bring up all the evidence against it, and then Tonotsugu might have like a conflict there where he doesn't know who to believe. Do I believe the guys that saved me or do I believe my dad? And then he'll have to choose a side at that point. I think that's probably more what's going to happen. And I feel like right now, Tonotsugu realizes that his dad had all of this planned and his dad understood the danger that his son was in. And if we remember from last episode or the episode before that, before they actually started the campaign, Denki was like, oh, hey, you're going to go with my son. And if my son dies, I'm literally going to kill all you guys.
Right.
I feel like Denki's just using his son as like a collateral where it's Denki is hoping that this war is going to go a certain way so he can take over Yamato. And he's putting all of these pieces in place where, okay, let's say Ryumon does defeat the Sei army without calling me, and then my son dies, then I still have an excuse to kill the Borderland Corps, Ryumon, and all the people, right? So he's basically setting up these traps along the way to try and just think like 20 steps ahead.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like a crazy game of chess. And yeah, I believe that Denki is like, I don't think he wants his son to die, but
I don't think he gives a shit, but I think he also like, he's like, okay, well, it's very pawn adjacent. He is the queen in the situation. He has all the power, but he's not ruling completely. But he can make all the moves and he can make the strategical decisions without anybody being able to counter his opinion. But he needs the one last piece to be able to take over completely, which is the Borderland Corps out of the picture and the people of Yamato to say, we believe in Taira completely.
Yes, and we can see that Denki already like uses his kids because the only reason Denki is in power is because his daughter married the emperor and she's the empress of Yamato, and then he literally poisoned the emperor to get him out of there, to get this new emperor in there. So he's already like using his kids to his advantage to make these power plays. So that's why I also think that I don't think he necessarily wants Tonotsugu to die, but then he also is just like, well, if he does die, then I'm going to gain an advantage.
I still got a wiener. I could probably make some more. He probably doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he'll be like that one dude where he's like, sexual assault, that's the only thing that gets me going.
Yeah, which is crazy. It's a crazy character. I'm glad that
Yeah.
character's gone.
But it cuts to 5 days later in Osaka, and the people are rallying at the Tsutenkaku, protesting to invade Sei for their invasion on Yamato. Tsune and Aoteru talk, and Aoteru is like, how did news of the war spread so fast? It's only been like fucking 5 days. And why are there protests everywhere? It doesn't make sense. Aoteru says it's probably a plot by people looking to profit off the war. And Tsune is like, there's only one person that could do that. It's Denki. And Aoteru is like, yeah, maybe. But then recalls Kaku's words about frogs and shit. And then Aoteru runs off. And then that's how...
I gotta go
episode
deal with
7
these frogs. He just runs away.
Yeah, dude, frogs, firewood.
Yeah. Persuade the heavens. Gotta go.
Yeah, pursuing the heavens, yep.
All this episode was fucking banger. I love this show. It's really good. Highly recommend.